There is something strange about the way most people live. We rush, we chase, we plan, we optimize, we work harder. And somehow, we become more exhausted, more anxious, more disconnected. We tell ourselves that peace will arrive later. After the promotion, after the relationship, after the breakthrough, after we finally become the version of ourselves we think we're supposed to be. But what if the problem isn't that we haven't arrived? What if the problem is that we're moving in the wrong direction entirely? More than 2,000 years ago, a quiet old philosopher saw something about human nature that most people still miss today. His name was Lao Tzu. And what he understood was so simple that most people overlook it. He understood that the harder people try to control life, the more life slips through their fingers. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it, because suddenly you begin noticing it everywhere. You see it in your relationships. You see it in your ambitions. You see it in your thoughts. You see it in yourself. Most people spend their lives fighting reality. Lao Tzu stopped fighting. And in doing so, he discovered something extraordinary. He discovered that the deepest form of power looks nothing like force. Think about this. Imagine holding water in your hand. Close your fingers tightly, and the water escapes. Relax your hand, and it stays. This is one of the great paradoxes Lao Tzu understood. The more aggressively we try to possess life, the less alive we become. Yet nearly everything around us teaches the opposite. Push harder, want more, compete more, control more, become more. And so people live in a permanent state of resistance. Resistance to uncertainty, resistance to aging, resistance to discomfort, resistance to what already is. But resistance has a cost. Every time reality refuses to obey your expectations, you suffer. Not because reality is cruel, but because you demanded that reality become something else. Lao Tzu saw that suffering often begins not with pain, but with refusal. Refusal to allow things to unfold, refusal to accept change, refusal to release attachment. And the tragedy is, most people never notice this. Because struggle feels productive, control feels responsible, effort feels virtuous. But not all effort creates wisdom. Sometimes effort creates blindness. Look closely at your own life. How many times have you thought, "I'll relax when," "I'll be happy after," "I'll feel complete once"? Notice what is happening. Peace keeps getting postponed. Life becomes conditional. You turn your present moment into a waiting room, and eventually, years disappear. Lao Tzu understood something difficult to accept. The moment you stop making peace conditional, you discover it was never absent. That doesn't mean abandoning goals. It means not making your existence dependent on reaching them. Most people think fulfillment is somewhere ahead. Lao Tzu suggested fulfillment becomes visible only when you stop running past it. But there is another layer, a deeper one. Because people don't chase achievements. Not really. People chase identity. Success means, I matter. Recognition means, I exist. Productivity means, I am enough. And this creates endless hunger. Because identity built from achievement can never rest. You must constantly defend it, prove it, maintain it, upgrade it. So people become trapped. They become performers inside their own lives. Lao Tzu looked at this and asked a dangerous question. Who are you before all the effort? Before the image? Before the performance? Before the story? This question terrifies people because underneath ambition, there is often fear. Fear of being ordinary, fear of being forgotten, fear of being insignificant. But Lao Tzu noticed something extraordinary. Nature never struggles to justify itself. The tree doesn't compete. The river doesn't apologize. The mountain doesn't explain itself. And yet, everything fulfills its nature, without anxiety, without performance, without comparison. One of Lao Tzu's most misunderstood ideas is often translated as doing without forcing, not inactivity, not laziness, something far more radical, acting without resistance, moving without inner conflict, allowing action to emerge naturally. Think of the greatest moments in your life, the conversation that flowed, the work session where time disappeared, the decision that felt obvious, the moment you stopped trying so hard, and everything aligned. People call this flow. Lao Tzu recognized it long ago. The strongest actions are often the least forced, but modern life trains people to distrust ease. If something feels natural, we think it must not count. If something feels peaceful, we think we're falling behind. So people create unnecessary struggle to prove they deserve outcomes. Lao Tzu would probably ask, why are you making life heavier than it already is? Now here is where things become uncomfortable. Because most people don't actually want freedom, they want certainty. And certainty feels safer than truth. People want guarantees, predictable outcomes, complete control. But life refuses. Everything changes. Everything moves. Everything disappears. Relationships shift. Bodies age. Opportunities come and go. Nothing stays. And because people expect permanence, they experience change as loss. Lao Tzu saw change differently. He saw that change isn't what destroys peace. Resistance to change destroys peace. Water doesn't break when the river bends. Only rigid things break. That's why flexibility becomes strength, not weakness. Strength. The strongest person isn't the one who dominates. It's the one who adapts, the one who doesn't collapse every time reality changes, the one who understands that life cannot be controlled, only participated in. There's a reason silence appears so often in ancient wisdom. Silence reveals things noise cannot. Most people are never truly alone. Even when sitting quietly, their minds are screaming, comparing, planning, judging, remembering, imagining, endless movement. But Lao Tzu understood, if your inner world is chaotic, nothing external will satisfy you. This is why people achieve what they wanted and still feel empty. Because achievement cannot cure internal noise. Only awareness can. And awareness begins in stillness. Not dramatic silence. Simple silence. Moments where you stop trying to become someone else. Moments where you stop fixing yourself. Moments where you stop asking, what's next? And ask instead, what is here? That question changes everything. Because most people never experience reality directly. They experience thoughts about reality. And thoughts are useful, but they are not life. Life happens underneath them. Here is something nobody wants to hear. Your mind is not always telling the truth. It tells stories, it predicts disasters, it creates identities, it remembers selectively, it exaggerates, and people believe every thought automatically. Lao Tzu understood that wisdom begins the moment you stop obeying every thought. You are not required to react to every emotion. You are not required to defend every opinion. You are not required to chase every desire. There is immense freedom in realizing you can observe without becoming. This creates space, and inside that space, your life changes. There is another illusion that keeps people trapped. The belief that becoming more impressive creates inner peace. But look carefully. The people most obsessed with appearing successful are often the most fragile. Because image requires maintenance, and maintenance creates fear. Lao Tzu saw something deeper. When you stop needing to appear extraordinary, you become unexpectedly free. You stop performing. You stop competing. You stop measuring your worth. And strangely, that's when real confidence begins. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need witnesses. Imagine reaching the end of your life and realizing you spent most of it preparing to live. Preparing, optimizing, waiting, improving, but rarely arriving. That realization would be devastating. Lao Tzu's wisdom points to something uncomfortable and beautiful. Life is not happening later. This is it. This ordinary moment, this breath, this conversation, this season. Not because ambition is wrong, but because life refuses to pause while you chase another version of yourself. So what did Lao Tzu understand that most people never will? He understood that peace isn't achieved. It's uncovered. He understood that force creates resistance, that identity creates suffering, that control creates fear. That stillness reveals truth. That softness becomes strength. That life opens when you stop wrestling it. And perhaps most importantly, he understood that becoming fully alive does not require becoming someone else. Only becoming present. Maybe nothing dramatic changes after hearing this. You still wake up tomorrow. You still work. You still make decisions. You still have problems. But perhaps something subtle shifts. Maybe you stop arguing with reality. Maybe you stop postponing peace. Maybe you loosen your grip. Maybe you realize you don't have to carry everything. And if that happens, then you will have understood something most people never do. That life was never asking you to conquer it, only to live it. And that changes everything.